I got you into a Remington party. What's my thanks? It's on the hallway carpet. I got paid in puke. Lick it up, baby. I got paid in puke.
Welcome to Paid in Puke, a podcast where three women with names discuss movies that are about something other than a man. Paid in Puke is hosted by Amy Green, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. It's also a spoiler-filled free-for-all. You've been warned. On today's episode of Paid in Puke, we get Pagan AF with a feminist revenge allegory double feature. Ari Aster's Midsommar and Robert Eggers' The VVitch. All right. You guys ready for this? On today's episode, we're doing a double shot of feminist, pagan, revenge-ish movies. Midsommar and The VVitch, otherwise known as The Witch. But you can't say it like that because that's not how they spell it.
It says VVitch.
So Midsommar is a 2019 film written and directed by Ari Aster of Hereditary fame. It stars Florence Pugh, Jack Rayner, William Jackson Harper, and Will Poulter. It was my favorite movie of 2019. It was my Halloween costume. It was my lunchbox. It was my my new identity. Janelle Monáe as the May Queen was the greatest thing I've ever seen at the Oscars.
Yeah, that was so special. It was like, oh my God. Like, they're really going for Baxter this year.
Literal chills. Yeah. It was so awesome. Also, I liked how hers was not very inhibitive. It was just this nice little jacket that she put on.
You're like a little poncho.
Yeah. And then The VVitch is from 2015, written and directed by one Robert Eggers, starring Anya Taylor-Joy and a bunch of other people. Okay. Two of whom were from Game of Thrones. Oh. Her parents are Game of Thrones actors. And they're a genre of horror called folk horror, apparently. Everything I read about it referenced these are folk horror movies is what they call them. Huh. And I kind of would argue that they're both sort of fairy tales. I guess that's kind of what folk horror is like it's a sort of got a fairy tale element to it.
Yeah, I see that a lot more with VVitch than Midsommar.
Yeah.
VVitch. That was based on like all of these like court documents from colonial times.
What went we out into this wilderness to find? Leaving our country, kindred, our fathers' houses. For what? For the kingdom of God. Let us pray.
Boo! There you are. Boo!
You've cursed this family.
Who's there?
Oh God, my Lord, I now begin. Oh, help me and don't leave my sin. For I repentant thou shalt be. From evil I will turn to thee. None ever shall destroy my faith. For I repentant thou shalt be. Oh God, my Lord, I now begin. Oh, help me and don't leave my sin. For I repentant thou shalt be. From evil I will turn to thee.
Let us leave the wood.
It's pretty wild.
He took lines of dialogue from correspondence from that. He was really concerned with getting the vernacular correct for the time. I thought it was pretty effective. I mean,
it was really creepy. I remember learning about the witch trials and witchcraft in colonial America and thinking, that is terrifying that actually happened.
Oh, yeah. Not surprising, though, but terrifying. So it took place in 1630, and then the Salem witch trials were 10 years later, so it was kind of like taking the temperature of the culture before that happened. That's kind of what it was like leading up to that. And it's so crazy because it's Christians fighting over the same book, basically, like interpreting it in different ways and getting outcast because they're like, no, I think it means this. I mean, it's fucked up that they got outcast, but it's also fucked up that they were like, Fine, we'll go. We don't even want to be here anyway. Like, what? I'm pretty sure you guys really still need each other. This is not good. Or at least you need them. I love how shit a farmer her dad is. And how mad he gets when she calls him out on it. She's like, all you're doing is chopping wood.
You asked me to speak truth.
Beg thee.
You took a mother's cup and let her rail at me. You confessed not till it was too late. Is that true?
Peace thee.
I will not.
I am thy father.
You are a hypocrite!
Hold thy tongue, daughter mine.
You took Caleb to the wood and let me take the blame of that too. Is that truth? You cannot bring the crops to yield. You cannot hunt. Is that truth enough?
Enough.
Thou canst do nothing save cut wood.
Must I hear the devil wag his tongue in thy mouth?
That's when he's like, first like, oh, well, maybe you're a witch.
Right.
Oh, really?
The mom's cup.
I was so mad about
terrible.
We should never have left the plantation.
Church.
We should never have left.
That damned church.
There is no hither.
Well, what need we, silver chalices?
How dare you chide me in a cup? It's not for vanity that I am grieved of it.
That guy is a motherfucker.
I hated that guy. Also, I hated his voice. His voice was so grating for me. It was so difficult to watch.
Yeah.
It was very creepy. His voice. I kind of cringed every time I heard his voice.
Yeah.
Right. I was so mad about the cup thing, though.
Yeah.
It's like, tell her that you sold her cup. My God.
I know.
You know when you're looking for something and you're like, where happened to my thing? It's like, oh, I sold it.
In that tiny house,
Right.
too.
Right. Like, I know it's in here.
I know. And he's, I mean, obviously just such a hypocrite because he's yelling at all his kids to follow the letter of the biblical law. And then he's like, oh, but I could just sell. I mean, basically that's stealing, right?
Where are these from?
From Indian Tomahawks later when last they passed through.
What did you trade?
Thy mother's silver cup.
Steal your wife's most prized possession.
Yeah.
And then lie about it.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that cup.
Stealing and false witness, right?
Yeah.
False witness lying.
Yes, thou shalt not bear false witness, I think is what it is.
In the beginning, he and his family are getting banished. He's on trial. He's getting banished for practicing the word of God in a way that they didn't approve of or something?
Exactly. You know how there's different branches of Christianity.
Oh.
I mean, I have no idea what it means. Say he
Yeah.
was like, they're like, we're Methodists and you're being a Lutheran and we don't like that.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Get out of here. And he's like, well, fuck you. I still want to be a Lutheran. Basically, they're like, you can stay if you be a Methodist. And he's like, I'm not going to do that.
Oh.
Fuck you guys. I'm taking my 5 kids and we're getting out of here.
Right.
That's so many kids.
Yeah, they have a lot of kids.
Have some more kids, why don't you?
Oh, that baby was so cute.
I know.
You know I always have baby fever. Regardless of circumstance.
Yeah, baby fever, not like toddler fever. Those little kids were terrible. I hated
Right.
those kids. They were such dicks.
I did think they were kind of hilarious, though. Like to watch. Not like I would want them, but
Yeah.
I love their goofy accents, too.
Yeah.
I be the witch of the wood. Mercy, come out. I be not Mercy. I be the witch of the wood. And I have come to steal ye. Hear me stick a flying through the trees. Clickety-clackety. Clickety-clackety.
Oh, yeah, those kids sucked.
What's the voice? There's like Mersey, which is how they say mercy. And then what's the other kid's name? Jonas.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Jonas, Mercy!
Jonas and Mersey. We don't get to do accents for Midsommar, so we're going to do it here.
Well, there's some Swedish accents.
Yeah, it's true, but that's not as fun as doing any British dialect.
Shut up. Hot Probs is on.
Oh, shit, yeah.
For me, VVitch is too long and slow. I
Yeah.
would like VVitch if it was an episode of a creepy show. It's only 90 minutes, and that feels stretched, you know? Whereas, like, Midsommar was 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
And it's, you know...
I know, it is amazing about that you don't feel this.
It did
You
not
really
feel
don't.
so
That's
long.
such a magic trick in
Yeah.
this day and age.
Right. My hottest prob is that it's just not enough happening.
He's clearly trying to set an atmosphere. He
feel
spends
like
too much time
you
setting
got
that
to-
atmosphere. Too many shots of the woods and that weird scream singing soundtrack.
Right. All of that is effective, but you don't need like an hour of atmosphere, 20 minutes of stuff happening.
That's true.
Also, I just was like, why do people religion? Where she's like, I deserve shame and misery in this life. Or when they lose the baby, and she's like, well, we've been ungrateful because we have so much. We're ungrateful that we haven't already lost a child, so that's why we lost a child.
I fear thou dost look too much upon this affliction. We must turn our thoughts towards God, not ourselves. He hath never taken a child from us. Ne'er one cave who might earn such grace. We have been ungrateful of God's love.
You've cursed this family.
No, he hath taken us into a very low condition to humble us and to show us more of his grace.
Their logic is so crazy.
Right.
And I mean, that was his comforting to her, is we should be grateful that this is the first baby we've lost.
Right.
Like,
Well,
what
we
the
only
fuck
lost
is that?
one. Yeah.
Shut up.
Yes, God is great. We only lost one kid.
I know it was really easy for you to have this baby, but... Ugh. Yeah, that guy super sucks. I was wondering what the deal was with the house. Did they build that house? Was that house there already?
That's true.
That house in the farm.
Kind of like were banished from the plantation and they stumbled upon this house. They didn't really get to that.
I don't
And
know
already
if
have
they
a farm
found
or
it.
something, and
It seemed like it
Yeah.
already had, like, land. So I was wondering if that
Yeah.
meant it was kind of like a take on that haunted house plot where a family moves to a idyllic farm and they're like, we're going to start our new lives here, but it's haunted, but we can't leave because of circumstances. If that's kind of what they were getting at, does that mean that that's kind of like a trap set by the witches? This is our house that we leave here for when people get banished and then we can pray. Because they didn't live that far away in the woods, you know.
yeah.
Right.
And they definitely were immediately up there stealing babies.
Is it empty because everybody who lives there gets
Witched.
VVitched,
Yeah, totally.
Right.
And mostly they get sacrificed, but every once in a while there's a comely young lady who can join their ranks.
Wants to live deliciously.
I know. I love that fucking goat.
Yeah. The goat is for sure the standout for me. Black Phillip is the star
When
of
he
this movie.
finally talks, it's like, wow.
I know.
Answer me.
What dost thou want?
What canst thou give?
Wouldst thou like the taste of butter, a pretty dress? Wouldst thou like to live deliciously? Wouldst thou like to see the world?
I did not expect that. Because, I expected him to talk all the way up until that point where I was like, that goat's never going to talk. And then he talks. Yay! I think I might have cheered in the movie theater when that happened. Oh, I love goats. Apparently that goat was a dick, though. They had more scripted scenes with the goat that they cut because they couldn't get the goat to work.
Oh, jeez. Oh, that's a bad goat training there.
I mean, it seems like they could have just replaced him, but...
Yeah, that seems really strange. Is there some Hollywood goat industry? You know what I mean? Like,
There's a
did
goat
they
union.
Just go find a goat and expect it to work out? I don't know. You know.
We're contracted with this goat. You have to use this goat.
I think my hot prob was mainly with I just really didn't like the dad. The mom's like, you've cursed this family, and he's trying to say he's humbling us. I just really hated that. And then when Caleb is dead, and after he's like had his devil inside him, and they pray over him really intensely, and then all of a sudden wakes up a little bit. It was just like, come on. Prayer. I mean, you know what I'm saying. I'm just like the intense religiosity of it. I just didn't like. I didn't like that. But I mean, you know, I'm sure that's what a lot of the colonial.
Just everything defaults to religion, right?
If something bad happens, it's your fault. You should be glad that it happened, and you should be humbled and want to do better for God.
Exactly,
You know,
like it's a lesson.
Felt like the message of it, and I really, really dislike that.
Well, that's the message of their religion, but I don't think it's the message of the movie.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel the movie is like, okay, this is why religion's awesome.
Yeah,
guys.
I think that this movie is definitely anti-religion. You could interpret it both ways, I guess, but The Church of Satan has embraced this movie as,
Right?
as like a
That should tell you
pro-Satanist
something, yeah.
movie, which
I
I really
mean,
like.
fair, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you're supposed to see that as a happy ending. that
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
becomes
I
a
mean-
witch and floats around.
I think so.
If I were her, I would embrace the witch life after all that she went through.
Hashtag witch
life.
life.
Yeah, I can
JK the
totally
bitch
see.
in.
I guess that's my hot prob is all like the religious stuff about it, but I can see how it is an anti-religion movie. I just was like, I'm so glad I never lived in that time period. I remember as a little kid learning about witches, maybe in middle school, where we had a social studies class where we learned about that period in America and learning all of the beliefs they had about who was a witch. And I remember one of them was like, if you have a mole with dark hair coming out of it, then you're a witch. I was like, oh my god, I'm a witch. Like, I have that. But I was like a little kid. You could be labeled the witch for almost anything, it seemed like.
Yes, absolutely. A very specific demographic is labeled a witch, usually.
Right.
They weren't saying, why is this happening to us? Maybe it's because of our horny son who won't stop ogling his sister's boobs.
Yeah.
It's like her fault for having boobs.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. I mean, I love / hated all the religious references because I grew up Catholic and, like, especially when she's doing confession. I remember having to go to confession and I'd be like, I'm not sorry for anything. And then I have to be like, okay, I guess I talked back to my mom, I fought with my brother. You have to like either make shit up or say things that they would think were wrong that you aren't sorry for. And then they're like, okay, well, if you say these prayers, you're absolved. And you have to do that once a week. And I mean, I don't know, she probably had to do that once a day. Yeah. And the things she's saying are like, I thought about this or I thought about that.
I confess I've lived in sin. I've been idle of my work, disobedient to my parents, neglectful of my prayer. I have, in secret, played upon thy Sabbath, and broken every one of thy commandments in thought. I know I deserve all shame and misery in this life, and everlasting hellfire. But I beg thee, for the sake of thy Son, forgive me.
That's what she's been taught. She's been taught that any pleasure she has in life is not good and she deserves to be punished for it.
Right.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way to live.
Shame-based religion.
Yeah. I mean, aren't they all? Except for Satanism. That's like the only one that embraces pleasure.
Are you a Satanist?
I studied Satanism in school because in my religion class we got to pick a religion that wasn't Catholicism.
Oh, cool.
And I picked Satanism. Because I was like, fuck it. Everyone already thinks I'm a witch and a Satanist. I might as well do this because it'll be fun. And then it really was pretty interesting. Most practicing Satanists don't believe in Satan as a demon. It's a metaphor for taking care of yourself. But even then, they also believe in, like, taking care of other people, too. They're not a bunch of libertarians. They basically just believe kind of the opposite of Christianity. Like, instead of all people deserve to be punished, it's like all people deserve to be exalted and celebrated. Like, people deserve to be celebrated, and life deserves to be celebrated. It's so funny that that's the antithesis to this religion that so many people believe.
Right. Yeah. It's weird that that is so demonized.
Uh-huh.
What? How's it bad?
I mean, because I guess being on Earth is a punishment, and the reward is going to heaven and being with God forever, is what they believe. What a horrible way to live. I guess I had one more kind of hot prop, which was the world of this movie. Satan is a real thing. Yeah. And so she is kind of just signing on to worship another dude. I don't love that. That's a little bit of a problem for me. She's trading one patriarchy for another. But like one patriarchy would be more fun. But then what ultimately is she going to have to... She had to sign a book.
Dost thou see a book before thee? Remove thy shift.
I cannot write my name.
I will guide thy hand.
What did that book say? What's she going to have to pay back later for this? It's probably still worth it a little bit. Because who wants to go hang out with the guy who made your life shit? I guess I don't understand that either.
I mean, she gets to fly. That's the awesome part, when they all float up like that.
And she doesn't have to be ashamed of her body anymore. Right. Like, I really love that they're all naked. The whole movie is spent with her being like, you should be ashamed of your body and you should cover up. I love that she kind of puts on pajamas at the end, too. Takes off her constricting clothes and puts on, like, a nightgown and takes a nap before she signs the book.
Right.
She's like, I can finally be free and wear pajamas. This is feminism.
Next call.
I read that it was a belief that a witch could not recite the Lord's Prayer, and so in that scene where the twins are not able to finish the prayer, that's why the dad's really worried about if they're a witch.
Oh.
Pray.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Join us, pray.
I cannot remember my prayer.
What?
Nor I cannot.
What nonsense is this?
Speak, children. Our Father, which art in heaven,
Hallowed be thy name. Pray. Pray, you beast. Get on thy knees and pray.
Damnation!
I wonder though, like I really feel like those kids are fucking with her in some way too. Sometimes the kids are fucking with her.
Right.
And sometimes they really are possessed by the devil or something. Or like influenced by the devil. I really feel like in that scene they're kind of fucking with her a little bit. Yeah. Maybe that's not right. Maybe they're meant to be actually possessed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because like right before that, they accuse Thomason of being a witch. And then so it kind of felt like, now we're going to prove to you that she's a witch. Right. This most opportune moment when our brother is dying. And she's able to say the prayer, right? So then why, if she's able to say it, but they still think she's the witch, and then the dad says something like, and then their son is saying scripture to you, I think. He kind of wakes up and he's talking about seeing Jesus.
Wash me in the ever-flowing fountains of thy blood. Holy thine I am, my sweet Lord Jesus. My Lord, my love, kiss me with the kisses of thy mouth.
But then the dad's like, the devil can speak scripture too. You can't fucking win here.
Right. Caleb did what cry Jesus.
The devil!
Don't know it not.
The devil will speak scripture too!
Don't know it not, it's not true!
Exactly. You had this rule that you can't pray if you're possessed by the devil, except that the actual devil can say scripture. What the fuck?
It's witchcraft, right? Yeah.
It kind of seems like you're just setting us up here.
Right. Just thinking about how they're this family that's banished into the woods, basically. Maybe the cabin fever has set in and they're just going nuts. I don't know.
They're probably like starving too.
Yeah, they're starving. It sounds like they haven't been in America very long. They're totally out of their element. Lots of paranoia, lots of cabin fever, psycho moments.
And then at a certain point, they like blame it on, they say Indian magic.
Just remember John Kemp's son. That first winter he was tormented of Indian magic.
She's not the same.
This is unnatural providence.
You're just kind of throwing shit out there, huh?
Right.
Caleb's possessed by Indian magic, and then they're like, oh no, it's witch herpes. I don't know.
Right, but then there really is a witch. Like, this is a movie. It's not like this is a psychological horror film where someone's just going crazy, getting gaslit or something. It's like, there is a witch that came and killed their baby. And
the ending is pretty definitive.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you see the scene with her sacrificing the baby. None of the main characters are witnessing that. That's just happening. That's kind of what makes it a fairy tale, I think. Mm-hmm. It's rather than like a psychological horror film, like Midsommar.
They're kind of going crazy, spitballing like, who's a witch? Someone's a witch. There is a witch.
But then I feel like the end is, I think they're still getting at the fact that the real bad guys are her parents. Her parents are awful. Yeah. Like her mom is just awful too. Her mom tries to kill her.
Right.
Oh my god, that scene is so hard to watch where she's saying, I love you, Mom, while her mom is strangling her to death.
Yeah.
It's you! It's you! I'm your daughter! The devil is in me, and I've had thee! Oh God! No. You killed my children! You killed that father! You witch! I love you!
She kills her mom because the mom's trying to kill her.
Yeah.
And you can see in her face how sad she is that her mom just
She's
died.
a really good actress.
And oh my god, she has just no one anymore. And who would blame her for wanting to be a witch? You know what I mean? Like
her entire family turned against her.
Just, yeah.
Except for her brother, but he died trying to help her.
And the scene where her dad takes her outside of the house and is like, you need to come clean here.
Yeah.
And she's like, what?
The bargain now is made is of no effect.
I made no bargain.
Thy soul belongeth to Christ.
I made no
The
bargain.
devil hath no interest in thee.
I am no witch, Father.
What did I but see in my house?
Will you not hear me?
Like, it's just so sad because she's like a kid and she's being villainized and demonized.
Yeah, I mean, they really drove her to be a witch.
Yeah. They really did.
That was on them.
Yeah. It's meaningful to me that she's, they're going to sell her to somebody in town because they're like, well, she's breeding age now, blah, blah, blah. But she still is very much a kid. And I like thinking about it in that regard. I don't like it. It's hard to say what I mean, but everyone's like, oh, kids grew up faster back then because they had to get married and blah, blah, blah. Like, this kind of implies that they didn't really.
Right.
They still were children when they had to do these terrible grown-up things.
Yeah.
Or things that their parents forced them to do.
Right.
Yeah.
How, like, a 12-year-old in the 16th century was still very much a 12-year-old even though she was, like, married.
Right, right, and having babies and...
Yeah, and how fucking awful that must have been. I guess I like that they kind of imply that instead of the long-held, probably wrong belief that kids were grown-ups faster. I think that came across really well.
Yeah, I think it did too.
I don't know why that was so hard to explain, but... Oh, here's another fucked up thing about religion. I mean, we could go on and on all day, but that they believed that the baby's in hell because it was never baptized.
I know.
That's why the mom is so broken up about it. Like, she wouldn't be as sad if she thought her baby died and went to heaven, but she's like, my baby's in hell. My baby's roasting in hell because we didn't baptize him.
Right. I hate that.
I hate that so much.
That is a very real thing.
Also, I thought that's, I mean, maybe this came after, but I thought that's what limbo was for.
Yeah, it is unbaptized babies.
Yeah. Was this pre-limbo?
Maybe they hadn't made up limbo yet.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Is it a different religion that does limbo? Or
their branch doesn't have limbo.
Maybe that's what the whole thing was in the beginning.
Yeah, they're like, it's so fucked up that you think unbaptized babies go to hell.
Like, they do. We're leaving. Bye.
No, we're dying on this hill. Unbaptized babies go to hell.
Like, if you believe that, then when did you baptize your baby? Like, this second is
I know.
My best friend, when I was a kid, her family was very religious. They were Baptists, and she told me that since I wasn't baptized, I was going to go to hell. And I was so scared. We went home and I told my mom, you need to put this on the calendar. I'm going to get baptized. I am not going to go to hell.
Did you get baptized?
I got baptized.
Well, I mean, now you got all your bases covered, so.
Right. Yeah, I'm like, so I guess I'm not going to go to hell, guys. But yeah,
I was baptized as a baby, so.
Yeah, I was like 10, I think, or 9.
It's like traveler's insurance, kind of like you just gotta do it, you know.
Yeah,
just gotta
cover
check
all
that
those
box.
Yeah.
You're probably not gonna need it, but it's just why not have it?
Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Except for all the little things you could do, as long as you just have to like be able to say real quick, I repent right before you die.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Oh, nobody told me that part.
But you have to be baptized first. Like, you have to be in the club.
Baptized, and at the very end, boom, repent.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nothing in between matters.
Well,
yeah, exactly. Woo!
Yeah. There were just so many creepy moments in it, like when she's milking the cow and blood comes out. And, like, the crops are all dead and now they have no milk. It's just like a harbinger of doom. And then the mom breastfeeding the
crow.
The crow. Like,
so gross.
Oh, it was so
like
creepy.
Mm-hmm.
That was so creepy.
I love that the baby disappears while they're playing peekaboo. That's such a funny little clever thing.
Pretty fast.
Yes, that's really quick too. I mean, how long is she covering her eyes? But it's just funny for me, especially because I worked with babies so long, and sometimes parents will ask about things being educational. For a baby, peekaboo is literally educational because they don't know that if they don't see you, you're not there. You know? Yeah, it's object permanence. They don't inherently know that. When you cover their eyes, they really think that you're gone. It's like, oh my God, whoa, what just happened? So I really love that it was like he really did disappear.
He's like, I hate this game. It is really funny.
I didn't like what happened after that.
No,
like the witch killing
obviously
and all that, but,
I know there weren't that many laughs in this movie.
No, I mean Black Phillip is good. Phillip.
That's why he's such a revelation when he shows up.
Man, I don't remember who sang it, but somebody had a little Black Phillip song, and I was like, oh, that's very Frankie.
Those little twins had it.
Black Phillip song, Frankie.
Yeah.
Black Phillip, Parker's out his head. Black Phillip, tonight and Queen is wed.
Jonas, Mercy, come hither.
But Philip has a mighty mad sting who'll knock thee to the earth. Since Bob barking Philip the Black King, ba ba ba.
Peace thou thing, Mercy. Thomasin.
Sing ba barking Philip the Black King, not beat on my back.
Enough!
I've already started underlining meaningful passages in her copy of Moby Dick, if you know what I mean.
Wouldst thou like the taste of butter? A pretty dress? Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Yes.
That's so great.
That was my favorite one.
And she's like, yeah, tell me more about this butter.
Yeah. Yeah, live deliciously is also my ask one. I don't remember who said it. I just wrote down, somebody said, I have no thoughts. That like sums up something about it.
Well. What?
Think.
Think what?
Think.
I have no thoughts.
And I deserve shame and misery in this life. Is just really summing up what is fucked up about all of this.
Yeah, and what makes it a happy ending.
Right.
Yeah. I've got 3. This isn't exactly a line in the movie, but I was watching it with the subtitles on because I didn't want to miss anything. I mean, I watch almost everything for the podcast with subtitles on now, but in this case, there were 2 moments where they described things. It said ominous farm animal sounds and increasingly intensifying ominous music.
Ooh, I like that.
And those both made me laugh a lot. I really like the ominous farm animal sounds. Like, I don't think there's any other movie where you can say that. Maybe Silence of the Lambs. I don't know. I don't know if you actually even hear the lambs in Silence of the Lambs, but...
No, it's silence right there. It's nothing intensifying sound of the lambs.
She says she hates the sound of the lambs.
Oh, I don't remember that movie so well.
She likes the silent lambs. No, but then I don't know. I don't remember that one. We should probably watch it for this podcast sometime.
Yeah, that would be good.
What else does a suicide need, huh? Now, if you'll excuse me.
Fun fact, all the scenes involving the witches were shot at a higher frame rate to make it look kind of creepy. I think it was a kind of nice subtle effect.
The ending took me back to The Craft at the end when Nancy's saying that she can fly.
I'm flying. I'm flying. I'm flying. I'm flying.
Like, so she really can fly.
Yeah.
VVitch ended with her face just much like Midsommar.
They found their people.
Right. Poor Danny.
I know. You definitely got to break some eggs when you're a woman trying to find your chosen family.
Right.
Another thing I really liked about this movie was I loved when Black Phillip knocks her dad into the wood pile.
Yeah.
It's so symbolic because there really is so much wood, because before she's like, all you ever do is chop wood. It's the only thing you can do. And that's when he is like, oh, you're a witch. But then Black Phillip's like, fucking knock him in the wood. It's a very satisfying moment.
Corruption. Thou art my father.
Do we want to do a lunchtime poll sandwiched in the middle here? And if so, what did we decide on? Exactly.
This was called...
We were kind of going to go which of these pagan fantasies appeals to you more, or...
This was called a lunch...
Or we had the one specific Midsommar one about
The bear.
the bear, would you not?
Right. I mean, we can do both. There's no law against it.
That's true. We made this whole thing up.
This was called a lunchtime...
In this case, the VVitch specific one would be, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer though. Would you?
Yes. I mean, would you live deliciously or live shittily? I mean, I'm going to pick deliciously.
Yeah.
It's like the cake or death thing.
Right. Okay.
We're gonna run out of cake at this rate. You, cake or death? Death, please. No, cake, sorry, cake. You said death first. Death first. No, I meant cake.
I don't know. We need a better one. I don't. What can it be?
Well, I mean, the Midsommar one, though, I honestly am not sure. I mean, I feel like that's at least not a no-brainer.
To spare the bear, like, wouldn't
Spare
have
the
killed
bear.
the bear.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the bear. The bear dies either way.
Yeah. Save the animals. No.
I mean, I would 100% say, let's not kill the bear.
Kill the bear, right?
It's harder for me to say whether or not the boyfriend should die, but
Right.
if keeping the bear alive is an option, then I want to do that.
It's not.
It's not, though, I know. The bear's gotta die. Shit. Maybe it'll come around naturally. We'll think of one later and we can work it back in.
Yeah.
Through the magic of editing. It's time to talk about Midsommar. Yay!
I told you that I want to go to that festival in Sweden.
No, you said it would be cool to go.
Yeah, and then I got the opportunity and I decided
Look,
to
I
do
don't mind
it.
you going. I just wish you would have told me. That's all.
Dude, she needs a therapist. You've been wanting out of this stupid relationship for like a year now.
And don't forget about all of the beautiful Swedish women you'll meet in June.
Okay, guys.
That's not her again. Seriously?
Babe, what's happening? Danny.
I was so very sorry to hear about what happened.
I invited Danny to come to Sweden. You know what she's been going through.
Christian says you've got this special week planned.
It's sort of a crazy festival. Special ceremonies and dressing up.
That sounds fun.
Unbelievable.
Welcome and happy Midsummer. Skål!
What time is it?
9 p.m.
That can't be right. The sky is blue.
This is what 9 p.m. is like here.
What do you think?
It's like another world.
Tomorrow's a big day.
Is it scary?
What is it?
It has special properties.
What am I going through?
We just need to acclimate.
I don't want to acclimate. I want to go.
Absolutely not.
What's happening? I don't know why you invited us.
That's why you look so guilty right now, because you know.
We only do this every 90 years. I was most excited for you to come.
I'm jealous you have a Midsummer lunchbox. Why
I don't really.
Oh, you don't? Oh.
I know. Like,
I was
I
was badly paraphrasing the sack lunch bunch.
Oh.
Midsommar is my identity now. It's my Halloween costume, my birthday theme, my thermos. It will be my favorite.
Hold on, I'm writing this down.
Good. It will be my favorite movie forever.
Wow.
Oh, now I get. Well,
Yeah.
I feel betrayed.
Oh, I'm
Not
sorry.
really.
But if you ever see one, let me know.
Well, it's just because I pack a lunch to work and I don't have an especially branded lunchbox, you know.
Oh,
I like to have a strong brand. And I don't want a Midsummer lunchbox. My lunchbox is just plain, so.
What would be on the Midsommar lunchbox?
I mean, there's so many.
The close-up panel of the pube cutting.
Oh, I know. I'm like, I don't think I would have an appetite if I thought about Midsommar.
It's a tough hang in Midsummer.
My husband and I just died laughing the first time we saw it, and we saw the tapestry panel
That
comic.
is amazing.
It was so funny. Every
Oh
panel
my-
funnier
everything
than
is- when the guy's eyes go crazy once he's under the spell. That would be just that on a lunchbox or a t-shirt or a skirt. Anything.
Yes.
I really like that. But yeah, the panel is like so you're like, okay, wait, what?
And then he says, they're like, what is that? And he goes, it's kind of a love story.
Oh my god.
Which I didn't catch until literally like my third watch. I did not catch that until this last watch.
It's so funny.
That's what he says.
Right.
Probably because I was laughing too hard.
Oh, the panel. It is so fun because there's that one panel where it's like, is it like cutting pubes?
Yeah.
And then the next one is like, yes, that's what it is.
That's definitely what it was. In case you were
weren't
not
sure.
And then menstruating into the bucket. And the juice glass. It's so great. It's such a
so good. Yeah. And then so much later when his drink is a different
so
color
obviously.
from everybody.
Oh yeah, and it's like.
And he's so nonchalant about finding the pube in the pie too. He's like, it's just a hair.
I know,
yeah,
he's
a
trying
pubic hair.
He's trying not to call attention to it. He's like, why are you embarrassed?
Is that?
What is that?
Is that a fucking pube?
Ew.
It's just a hair.
Yeah, a pubic hair.
Dude, calm
calm down.
Why are you embarrassed? You're not the one giving out pear pies.
Is it because he kind of likes her and he kind of wants that whole thing to happen?
I don't know what's going on with that guy, honestly. Like, he is a little bit of a puzzle to me, that one.
I get the vibe like now he's decided this is his thesis. He's gonna run with everything.
I think he is into it, and that's why he's downplaying it is because of Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, basically, that's his side piece. Or going to be, and you know, he's like, let's not talk about this with my girlfriend sitting right next to me.
Right. The original intention was they were gonna go bang Swedish chicks in Europe.
Yeah, right. The one friend, he wants to bone like all the women in the village, pretty much.
Right.
Seems like the one girl, she comes over to him and she's like, "I'm gonna show you,"
Yes.
something, and he's like, "I'm gonna." She's gonna show me.
Come, I'll show you.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, great. I'll be back, I guess. She's gonna show me.
Yeah, she was kind of making eyes at him throughout.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because they like picked him to begin with. He was always gonna die.
Yeah.
There's some question to me.
Gonna die, right? Like,
I think they were all always gonna die. Except no, they definitely brought Christian there for the boning.
yeah, but then he would die after, right?
He probably would die no matter what, but maybe he would still be up for the choice time.
Right, like those were some of my questions, some burning questions I had. My sense of it is that all the outsiders were gonna die, but a couple of them were gonna have to bone first because they said we're careful about the genetic lines or whatever and inbreeding, so sometimes we have to bring outsiders. You know, I thought it was like, okay, bring at least a couple guys to get people pregnant so we have the inbreeding thing taken care of. But I really thought like everybody who comes in is gonna die because witness all this shit and then leave. And so then I was just puzzled, well, like what's the story? Like Danny has this last minute ad and he keeps saying he's so glad that she's coming.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very, very glad you're coming. I think it's very good you're coming.
I think that's just because
was gonna happen
he
then?
kind of fancies her. I think she was never going to die.
Okay.
I think his plan was like, I'm going to convince her to join this cult because she'd really fit in there and we have so much in common. And
Right. Okay.
I don't know what would have happened if at the end she was like, I didn't like this, I'm going to go home now, if then they would kill her. Maybe he was like, I hope we can convert her, but if we can't, then we'll just kill her.
Yeah. Was the May Queen thing rigged so that she would win?
I don't think it was.
I thought it was because I thought those girls kind of tripped each other to fall.
On purpose?
I was wondering that. They were like, it's you.
Oh, you win.
Yeah. Huh. Like Maya, for sure, the redhead, throws it. She does a really not very subtle fall because she's ready to get boned. She's like, I'm done with this. I don't know. I think a lot of them were trying. I don't know. That is an interesting question.
Like, is it rigged? If it's not, what if she had spared Christian? Then what would have happened after that? I mean, people leave, the people that are part of it, like Pele. Okay, so he went to America and brought some people back.
Yeah,
like,
they have their pilgrimage. He was on his pilgrimage.
Right. I kind of want to know, like, what happens next.
Well, if he had lived, then he's going to be the father of this baby they conceived.
But they don't really have, like, parents,
I think they just
right?
all
They
raised the babies together.
In the end of it, everything from Danny's old life is over. I don't know if maybe she would have been as happy if maybe he hadn't have died, or like
clean slate for her.
Burning everything of the
very
old
scorched
life
her.
now in this new life, and it's like she's free. I don't know. That's the sense that I got. She's all in the new life.
That's absolutely right. But I think the question is like whether or not it's preordained by anybody in the cult, or Pele, I guess, specifically.
Right, or if it's just Pele sees that cults prey on people who have trauma. Or,
that's absolutely true.
That he just sees this as quite an opportunity. She just lost her whole family in this devastating way. And when I can say, yeah, I lost my family too. Also, like, is Christian at the end, I like we jumped right to the end, but like, is he just drugged or is he permanently paralyzed? Like, what even did they do to him?
They definitely gave him a paralytic. When they blow that powder in his face, that's a paralytic.
Right. Okay.
He's on shrooms, and then also they do the paralytic.
That was rough.
And then also like the weird Viagra steam.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a lot going on.
Right. Yes.
But I think that the paralytic was only for it would probably wear off if she
Right.
hadn't chosen him, I assume.
What would have happened if she picked the other guy?
I know. That is a really interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions with it.
They still would have broken up, I assume.
Yeah, they're showing a director's cut at Central Cinema, but I think it's while you're away.
I do really want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there will be another way to see the director's cut, but like I want to hear.
I think it's for sale.
I would want to hear a lot from this director, or like watch it with commentary if it had.
The director's cut has commentary?
No, I don't know.
Oh.
I'm just saying that I would love
it
to hear
does.
that.
Because the DVD does not.
Oh, it doesn't.
Which I was really bummed about.
I have a lot of questions.
I don't know if you would answer them necessarily, but
Damn it.
hopefully, I don't know. Can we get Ari Aster on the phone?
Right.
Call us,
guest,
Ari.
All right, let's tag him on Twitter.
Definitely will.
Yeah.
When we post this. God, we just jumped to the end, but there's just so much in this movie. It's so great.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning, the VVitch and Midsommar both kind of start with spooky trees and increasingly intensifying ominous music. I think Midsommar does it way better. I feel like you can feel the cold with that wintry landscape that it starts with. I think that must be the field and everything that they're in later. And you just see it as this like frozen wasteland. And it feels so cold. And then cuts to Danny. That's how she feels inside. You know, she's so worried about her family. And then it's such great atmospheric foreshadowing. And she's such a fantastic actress. Florence Pugh is a fucking revelation.
Yeah. I love her.
She is gonna go places. On one of my millions of podcasts I listen to about the Oscars, they're like, she's gonna be nominated a bunch of times and she'll win something eventually.
The only other movie I've seen her in is Fighting with Your Family, or Fighting with My
she's in
Family.
that?
It's about this wrestling family in Britain, and it's Stephen Merchant directed it.
Oh, I
wrote
love
it,
Stephen
and
Merchant.
It's like based on a true story of this family. The two siblings try to go to the WWE in the States, and the sister is the breakout wrestling star in the movie, and it's Florence Pugh.
Oh,
and
wow.
I totally didn't recognize her because she has black hair. It's a really good movie, and The Rock is in it because I guess he's
I remember
friends
this
with,
movie that you're talking about.
He's friends with the real life family.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, she was really good in that.
And of course, she was great in Little Women.
I still haven't seen that, but
Yeah,
it's on my list.
she's the standout by far.
I've now seen her Oscar clip, at least.
Okay.
The speech. The marriage speech. I love her co-ed outfits. Those are like the perfect college co-ed outfits.
Yeah.
So she's always wearing like sweatpants and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And hair in a ponytail constantly. College co-ed comfort.
Yeah, I love the opening of this movie. It sets up so much so well.
The first time I tried to watch Midsommar, I got to the part where the family was killed, and I was just like, I'm not in the right headspace to keep going. This is brutal. It was so good. I think I remember talking with you about it, like, after I watched it the first time. It does, like you said, like, really set up her frame of mind for how she goes throughout the movie and to the village, and seeing the little flashes of her sister and flashes of her parents and the rituals. I was reading some of the trivia on IMDb, and it said, like, there's some scene where you can see her family's faces in the trees or something, but I totally missed that.
You can
when
see
I
her
watched
sister like in a tree with a gas mask face on. It's when she's riding that plank when she's been crowned the main queen, and they're all carrying her on the plank, and she's kind of standing surfing style on this plank, and then behind her one of the trees is kind of taking the shape of her sister's face with the mask on. So many great things about this movie. One of my very favorite things is that it's like absolute most perfect representation of being on mushrooms that I've ever seen. It's nailed 100%. The first time I took mushrooms, I had a kind of a bad trip, but before it got bad, I was really enjoying looking at trees and trees taking different shapes. And the plants really do, I mean, it's great to be in nature because plants really do like breathe, and you really do feel
So wild.
connected to everything, and you feel the
Like
air.
how the grass
and
is growing through
yeah,
the hand.
I mean, you feel it's so wonderful. I really feel like everyone should take mushrooms at least once in their life, like a small amount. And you really do need to be like in a good headspace. Definitely don't do it right after your whole family dies. That's the greatest thing about it, and it really does shift your perspective forever, I think.
Can you feel that? The energy coming up from the earth? And look, the trees too, they're breathing. Nature just knows instinctually how to stay in harmony. Everything just mechanically doing its part.
Once you feel that way about the universe, It kind of never leaves you.
Yeah.
In a really good, positive way. I think it would make a lot of people who are real selfish assholes a little bit less selfish. But the plants thing, so great. When my trip started getting bad, one of the trees turned into a giant elephant and was knocking on the window at me with its trunk.
Jeez.
Didn't like that. But before that, everything was good. That was like the start of the worst time ever. Bad headspace. Interestingly enough, the boyfriend I did mushrooms with that time was a shitty-ass boyfriend like Christian. So don't do mushrooms with your shitty boyfriend.
Well, yeah, and the part where they all decide to do them and Danny's like, I don't want to do this. And he puts her in a really awkward position. Like, he was shitty about it.
Fight, let's just take it now, right? Yeah. Great.
You know what? I might have to find my footing first, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Of course. Okay. And listen, if you're feeling uneasy, you have to take them along.
No. I want to feel settled first.
Okay.
Okay.
No, wait.
No, you go ahead,
No,
please.
I'll wait. Well, let's come up together.
Ready?
Okay. Guys, I'm gonna wait for Danny, so you just go ahead.
Dude, we can't take them at different times. They'll be totally separate trips.
You wanna wait for us then?
You know what? It's fine. It's fine.
Babe,
I'm ready. No,
Don't
it's
feel
okay.
rushed.
I don't. It's fine.
You sure?
Yes, Mark. Thank you.
Like, pressures her to do it.
Of course, because
And,
she doesn't want to be uncool. She
Right.
doesn't want to be the...
He could have just said, I don't want to,
Yeah,
and then let
he's
her
really
play along.
shitty
Like, all
about
right, I'll
it.
wait for you.
But that's not the kind of guy he is.
I have to say, I know it's going to be controversial, but I think he's a shitty boyfriend, but I also did feel for him in this situation that he was in with her, in the sense that he wanted to break up with her, was pretty much ready to, and then this terrible thing happens where her parents and her sister die. I do feel like he's kind of in this rock and a hard place. He can't just break up with her right after that. I felt for him. I thought he was a bad boyfriend, but I also could sympathize with him in that sense. He just wanted to get out of that relationship, but it just was not the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do. I absolutely do.
I mean, I felt like he was a big pussy of how he handled everything. He should have just told her, I want to go on this trip to Sweden with my friends.
Yeah.
Like, let whatever happens happen. You know, like, if that makes her break up with him or if it's her. You know what I mean? Like, I thought he handled everything really badly, but I did feel for his situation in that sense. That, can you break up with someone right after her sister kills herself and their parents? You know what I mean? Like, can you break up with someone right then?
Yeah.
Is that not going to bait you as a shitty person?
I wonder if that was what it was. It's like selfish motivation there. Not that he was thinking about her, but he was thinking about how it'd look. If it was more of that.
Oh, I think it's... Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't think it was like, I need to be there for
protect
her
her.
through
Yeah.
this terrible time. I think it was... I can't be the guy that broke up with someone right after her whole family died.
Yeah.
Tragically.
I do love that shot where he's walking over to her apartment after she called. He's a pretty good actor, that guy.
Right. Yeah.
The dread on his face.
I thought he was very, very good in this movie, yeah.
And it seems like a good guy in real life. He pushed for the full frontal nudity.
Oh!
They wanted a little bit of it, but he was like, if we're doing it, we're just going to do it. And then he also, it was his idea to run out afterwards naked, because he was like, that's a thing that happens in horror movies with women all the time. Women are always like vulnerable and having to run around naked. And he was like, I really wanted to have that reversal happen.
Nice. That's
So I was like, oh, tell me more. Also, he's Irish, so
Oh,
definitely
my
tell me in
goodness.
your
Right.
regular accent.
Okay, so did Pele's parents die in the temple?
That
He
is what
said
I-
his parents died in a fire.
He did
so I
say
was
that.
thinking, like,
But I'm under the impression that this particular ritual is the thing that happens only every 90 years. When you learn what their lifespan is, obviously some people never get to see it. I mean, breaking it down. I took some notes about that. I'm like, what happens? This is the Great Feast. It happens every 90 years. Every year they have the Midsommar Festival where people who are 72 die. And then I think the May Queen thing happens every year. And probably some of the other little things here and there. I think they do bring in breeding people too every year.
Oh, okay. But only every 90 years that... They just sacrifice
people.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that Pele had parents who died because I feel like they stress that people don't really have parents. Everybody raises everybody. They're all a family. I don't think there would be two specific people that he considered his mother and father that died.
You think he was lying?
Yeah.
So why did he say died in a fire? Just because that was like a terrible sounding death? He's like what's another fucked up way for parents to die?
Or maybe just that
he had that in his mind.
But yeah, this is how people die in Midsommar. It gets a little foreshadowing, maybe. I would like to watch it again, just paying attention to everything that he says and does. Like he's trying to get in with her and bond with her and prey on her vulnerabilities. And hey, let's trauma bond, you know?
Mm-hmm. And how he kind of sets up Christian for being a bad birthday boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Happy birthday.
Oh my gosh, Pele.
It's just something I do for birthdays. Maybe it's not appropriate.
No, not at all. Thank you so much. It's beautiful.
Anyway, just between us.
She says something.
No, absolutely not. I just wanted to let you know before. So.
Are these the May Queens?
Yeah.
Stop, it's fine.
What? You didn't think I forgot, did you? I'm sorry. I got fucked up by the daylight. I thought it was yesterday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
So it's okay.
You should be.
I should be.
I did notice that more because like in the past I thought he was kind of trying to help him out maybe, but this last viewing I thought he's trying to get him in trouble by like pulling him aside and being like, here, I made you a cupcake. She would obviously know that he didn't really arrange that.
It's like very clearly been established that Christian forgot her birthday.
Yeah, watching it I was like, oh, Pele really seems to be very nice to her, you know, but then like looking back after it's over, it's like, oh, he was really, really working it, you know, trying to manipulate her.
He's better at working it than Ingmar. I love that whole Ingmar relationship thing.
I really enjoyed everything about Ingmar. He's so incel. It's like he got friend zoned and it's like, guess what? I'm killing you both.
Yeah, I know. Right. And he's like, I'm dying anyway, so what do I got to lose?
Right. I know. I thought that was really interesting that he was one of the volunteers to die. It was like,
when did he make that decision?
Suicide. I love that he's basically a whole movie in like 5 minutes of screen time. You know? Like there's so much there. In his mind, this was my girlfriend, and she's like, no, we went out once, and I didn't even know it was a date.
How did you guys all meet?
Well, we were all working on the same farm, and funny enough, I was dating Connie when Simon and me first became pals.
Well, we'd been on a date, and I didn't even actually know it was a date. So.
You're right. No. I meant that Connie and me had just become friends. We decided to be friends, and that was just before Connie and Simon started dating. And now they're engaged.
What?
Wow.
Congratulations.
Which is amazing, yes. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we actually asked Ingmar to officiate the wedding.
Really?
Nah.
Those people seem so nice. Pretty fucked up what happens to them. I didn't notice the scream until this last time either.
With the exhaust?
No. When those two have disappeared and supposedly been driven to the train station.
You're right.
They hear it in 3 different locations, like 3 different characters are hearing it.
3 different people hear it.
It happens when she's baking the pies, she hears it. But it's so faint that you're like, what was that?
Yeah.
And then you don't hear anything else. But it's definitely Connie screaming. Yeah, and then 2 other people, I forget who.
The scariest looking part to me was when Christian goes into the barn.
Yes, that's pretty horrifying.
Like, hanging by hooks. And then I read that was an old Scandinavian torture, the eagle's wings or something, like where you take the lungs out. I mean, they're still like breathing. Oh, and then you can see like the flowers. The flower eyes are kind of moving.
Amazing.
Oh, it was so scary looking.
That's what made me love this movie a lot more the second time around. Was it's so scary beautiful. Somebody worked really hard on that prop piece there of like with the flower eye. I mean, it's just it's amazing to look at. I mean,
that probably couldn't have been fun for that actor.
Horrifying. Right. It's so horrifying and also beautiful.
It is. No, I completely agree.
Yeah.
almost everything in the movie that's horrific is beautiful, with I think the exception of course, like
the old people dying.
Yeah. The other stuff is really great. Really beautiful. I mean, certainly like the bear suit and just all the people, like the other two Harga people who are like stuffed with straw. There's like one that's stuffed with straw and there's one like that has tree branches. It's kind of cool.
The guy dressed up as like a jester.
That's Mark.
He's the fool.
Skin the Fool. I know. Kids are playing Skin the Fool.
Wow. Oh my god.
It's so fucking cool. I love finding everybody in the barn at the end. I don't know why I really enjoy that. I'm like counting all the people every time. There they are.
Yeah. The dresses were so beautiful in it too.
The costumes are insane.
Yeah.
Should we do hot probs? I don't have that many, but I do have a couple.
Shut up. Hot probs is on.
Oh shit, yeah.
My first is just like one of those IMDb goof kind of things. I didn't get it from IMDb, but that's the spirit of it. When they do the Ashtupa.
Is that...
Atishtupa? That's the people who are jumping off the cliff.
Okay.
Atishtupa, I think is what it is.
Atishtupa.
Which is based on a real ritual that used to happen. They first cut their hand, and then each person has their own rune. Like, that's their kind of graves, like this rune. I don't know what they do to people who die before their time. Surely that happens sometimes.
It must, right?
They don't ever talk about that. So they cut their hands, and then they rub it together, and then they put bloody handprints on their stone.
Yeah.
But there's one wide shot. You can see all the other runes up there, and they all have bloody handprints on them too. Do they like Mod Podge them afterwards, or what? Like, how do they keep the bloody handprints on there? Seems like the elements would eventually wash away the blood.
Oh, I don't know.
And then this was a hot prop I had the first time, but then I read more about it, and it's not really, because it's part of the ritual. But when they bludgeoned that guy with the cudgel, the three different people
got him.
They kept passing it. Apparently, it's like a generational thing. 3 generations go up, and each person gets a whack with the cudgel. So even though he's definitely dead by the second cudgel, the third guy does it just because it's part of the ritual.
Part of it. Yeah, because
I laugh every time.
It is
so
like,
unnecessary.
You got him. Like, so it's a little bit like, really, he wouldn't die from that giant fall.
I mean, it must happen. It's part of the ritual. They have a big ass cudgel in the ritual.
Yeah,
just in case.
I mean, my hot prop is the sex hut. Like, it's too goofy for me.
It's too goofy.
Yeah, when the old lady starts like pushing on his ass, it's like, come on. Like,
I love it. I think it's so fucking funny.
I have a love-hate with it. It is funny, but I'm not convinced that he was trying to be funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I really think he was.
I
The
hope
old
so,
lady pushing
but...
his butt. That kind of took me out of it too a little bit.
And when that one lady reaches out her hand, and then the other lady like grabs it and caresses her cheek with it. I think that's supposed to be intentionally hilarious.
I hope so.
Maybe not, but
I don't know. Like, sometimes somebody, you know, like at the end of Disaster Artist was like, I hope y'all liked my intentionally funny movie, you know?
I'm glad you all got it.
Right.
I like any time in a movie where there's just a lot of like real women's bodies naked.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's certainly not how I would want to make a baby, but
It didn't remind you of when your children were conceived?
Honey, we're ovulating. Call 20 women.
I got the butt pusher job.
They probably don't always have to do that. He was just getting a little distracted. They're like, it's time to wrap it up.
I don't have a lot of hot props because it's so good. But,
well, you answered one of my hot props was I was wondering about Pele with the parents in the fire, because I was like, what is up with that story? But if it is just a ruse, then that makes perfect sense.
And I don't believe him.
Okay. I guess I'm so gullible. I did believe him. I was like, oh, he's a nice guy in this cult. I'm not going to join a cult, I swear to God.
He is not a nice guy.
He's not a nice guy.
What do you guys think of the scene where Florence Pugh, she sees Christian is having sex with the woman, and she's like having a breakdown, and all the women follow her, and then they start copying her sounds and crying? Were they like mocking?
No, that's how they process trauma. They set that up with the other two things, with the Ashtupa. When that guy falls and isn't dead, then everybody kind of starts crying out in pain. We're a family, we're sharing the pain. I really like it. It's off-putting, but I really also kind of like the intent behind it, at least.
I like the intent behind it, but watching it, I was like, I can't tell if they're mocking her or if they're feeling it with her.
They're empathizing.
Yeah.
That's their way of showing empathy. Or how Pele's like, do you feel held by Christian? A big thing with the Harga is that they hold each other up. Why do they do the whole like accusation ruse with stealing the book?
Where is your friend, Josh?
I know. We have no idea.
He and your other friend, they both disappears the same day. You see how it looks?
Yes, obviously, but I swear to you, we are in the dark on this. We're just as confused as you are.
Well, we did see Mark off with that girl last night.
What girl? Tina. Yeah, but Mark wouldn't have done this. Josh, on the other hand, he came to bed with us, and when we woke up, he was gone.
Let's hope it gets returned.
I hope so, too.
I feel responsible.
Well, you and Odd, you can go looking for them.
Yes.
Maybe you can redeem this.
What is the point of all that?
Yeah, or also the whole point of approving them to do their thesis, but you
Yeah.
can't take pictures. Not like
Exactly.
They're gonna kill them all in like 3 days.
Yeah.
Why not just say straight up, just say like, do whatever you want?
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Did they think that wasn't going to be believable?
Right.
They get suspicious if they got carte blanche.
Right, but if they did get to, I mean, just like Simon and Connie,
Yeah.
it's like, well, they have a plan. If they get suspicious or try to leave,
Right.
I
That's true.
have the same question. Like, what does any of this matter? The ruse of getting the elders to approve their thesis, and then the thing with the book.
Yeah,
They're
I don't
just
know.
really committed to the timeline here or something.
Do you think maybe it was a power trip Pele was on? Like, he wants to make them feel like they're competing?
Well, it's not even just Pele, though, 'cause that one elder guy is like, someone stole the book, and now your two friends who've disappeared. Isn't that weird?
Right.
We better go search for them.
And in other news,
Yeah. I don't know why they do that.
I love Christian instantly is like, oh, I don't know that guy.
He's so ridiculous. And then my final hot prop is, this might not be a very fun movie to watch if you're a person of color watching it through that lens. There's a little bit of like a white supremacy tinge to it. You know, the fact that like everybody there is, I know it's Sweden, but there's 3 people of color, they all die. The May Queen is the blondest blonde. The only one who's allowed to live is the most Aryan of the people. It can't be a super fun way to watch it. I definitely love the feminist aspect of it.
Right, but I mean, I don't feel like it's celebrating white supremacy. It's just, like,
I mean, I definitely don't think it's
like,
intentionally white supremacist. But
right, I mean, I think it's like this is a crazy, murderous cult of white people.
Yeah.
That's true.
Definitely doesn't paint them in a positive light, does it?
Right.
Necessarily. Right. Okay, well, that's all my hot props.
Okay.
Next call.
I've already started underlining meaningful passages in her copy of Moby Dick, if you know what I mean.
My difference is I never got the chance to feel lost because I had a family here where everyone embraced me and swept me up. And I was raised by a community that doesn't bicker over what's theirs and what's not theirs. That's what you were given. But I have always felt held by a family. A real family.
Only Christian could walk in.
He's what I'm talking about. He's my good friend and I like him, but Danny, do you feel held by him? Does he feel like home to you?
I think that's the appeal of their
Mm-hmm. I don't think she gets to process her trauma until she gets there. It hasn't been that long. But I'm sure that the whole grieving process was kind of put on hold because Christian's so bad at helping her through it and she has nobody else. I don't know what happened to her friend who she was on the phone with.
That friend.
I love her friend who she's on the phone with because her friend is like really talking a lot of good sense.
What did your sister write?
Just some ominous bullshit like she always does, and it's torture, and I lean on him constantly for support. Like, what if I have overwhelmed him and he thinks that I just have too much baggage?
Well, if that's the case, then good riddance, right?
No, not if I went too far, if I leaned too much.
You didn't. You should be there when you need him.
Where's that friend? You should call her more.
Right, I also love the setup of how his friends are shitty, especially that one friend, like when she calls and his friend said, this is literally abuse.
I know.
Right?
Oh my God. She needs a therapist, dude.
She has a therapist.
Oh, so then she should call her therapist and not you. It's literally abuse. She's abusing you.
And then her friend, you know, is so reasonable, where she's like, oh, I just feel like I'm just dumping on him. That's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be supporting you. You know, you're going through a genuinely hard thing. That's his job, is to support you through that.
Yeah.
The line that I wrote down, like, you shouldn't ever be a chore.
I did write down that line of what Christian says. The conversation with him, and I don't want to say Chidi.
Josh. I think it's Josh. Right? Yeah. I know. He's cheating.
Where he's like, we can collaborate on this if you want to. And then when they're like, we don't know where your friends are, you're responsible for them. He's like, we're not friends or collaborators or anything.
And if he did take that book, I just pray you understand. We don't associate as friends of his or collaborators or anything. We would just be so embarrassed to be connected to this in any way, shape, or form.
I just love that he says collaborators. Exactly, it is. I don't know her. Christian, just in general, he's such a terrible person, but he has so many lines that make me laugh.
See, that's what I feel like Mark I hated, but he has a couple things that I like. Like, I like his line, like, this is literally abuse, just because it's so not at all abuse.
How long is the drive?
About 4 hours. Oh my God.
And then I think he's the one who makes the little comment like, oh, so we're stopping at Waco first.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
which I love that foreshadowing.
Yeah.
So we're stopping in Waco before going to Pell's Village?
You have no idea,
Right.
bro.
Yes, exactly, Waco. You were all going to burn at the end of this. Yeah. Oh, and also when they were like, we can talk through dancing. I love that.
I don't speak Swedish. What? Swedish English.
I speak Swedish.
I like the little exchange. Or Danny's like, is it tomorrow after they wake up from the mushrooms? And then Christian's like, I mean, from yesterday's perspective.
Did it get dark now?
For a couple of hours, not completely.
Is it tomorrow?
I mean, from yesterday's perspective.
I thought that was a funny little exchange.
Yeah, I like that.
Foreshadowing of how time sort of loses all meaning at this place.
Well, I thought also that was a tiny bit like, is it my birthday?
Yes.
You know.
She's definitely hinting at it.
Right. I think that's
and he
why,
fails.
like,
He fails the
she's
boyfriend
like,
test.
Is it tomorrow as in my birthday? And he's like, well, from yesterday, sure.
Yeah.
You know? I totally want to know the answer to this. Why are they watching Austin Powers? She's like, the kids are watching Austin Powers. I'm like, what on earth? Like, I want to believe that there's some funny meaning to that.
What do they get out of that movie?
Right.
What does that mean to them?
Right.
That's how slow pop culture is to get to them,
maybe
I guess.
maybe,
Like in the
right?
village.
Like, I want to believe on some deeper level there's something like, because, Austin Powers has something where something isn't as it seems. You know what I mean? Like, I want to believe that there's some
symbolism. I don't know. I don't want to rewatch Austin Powers to find out either.
Oh, no, I don't.
I guess we'll never know. Unless we can get Ari Aster on the phone.
That's why I need the commentary or something.
I super love Pele's line when Christian's like, can I just join their dancing line? And he's like, you're an American. Just jam yourself in there.
Hey, Phil, can anyone just join in? Oh, you're an American, just jam yourself in there.
Woo, shade. The shade of it all. I love it. They're definitely the kinds of guys that just jam themselves in places.
Right. I hate how Mark pisses on the log and is not even sorry at all about it. He's like, what?
It's just a dead tree.
Yeah.
With ashes all around it for some reason that I didn't think about at all.
Right.
Dude, you pissed on the ancestral tree. The tree? So yes, yes.
So what?
I didn't know. No, it's that tree is tied to all of our dead. It's a dead tree, though. It's dead. Yeah, I know, but it's important to us. I just had to pee. I didn't know it was special.
It's like he didn't think of it beforehand, but then once the guy is freaking out and Pele tells him why, and he's just like, yeah, whatever.
It's just such a contrast to like white men versus everyone else, where anyone else that's not a white dude, I think would have been like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I kind of want to pay more attention next time I watch it to how much Danny apologizes. I know she does apologize a couple times.
Right.
But like less so as the movie goes on, but I want to really pay attention to that.
It's also interesting to me how Simon and Connie, or I think especially Simon, are the ones that are so horrified by the... Why can't I think of what it's called? Yeah, that.
Yeah. Because then they're like, Ingmar, didn't you warn them? And he's like, well, I kind of did. Like, he did not at all.
Right. Because I think Josh kind of knows what it is. That Pele's group.
He does know what it is.
Kind of like anthropologists there to observe another culture, basically. And then these two are just there to visit.
Yeah, I don't know what their field of study is.
Yeah. I guess
they said they met on a farm, a working farm.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know. They may be
So
coming from the agriculture aspect of it, maybe, or something. Danny clearly does not know what to expect.
Right.
It's still obviously very shocking.
She's just already so traumatized.
Yeah.
That it's just...
Yeah, it's like trauma on top of trauma.
Right, like I think, oh, that was terrible, but it's not as terrible as what just happened to her. She's kind of numbed almost. I think she seems the most open-minded about that ritual. She's just looking so much for comfort, for solace or something from like what she just went through. And it's like, well, look, we see life as a circle and this was a beautiful ending to their lives. She's just really looking for something.
The contrast of different types of suicide. We don't really get into why her sister commits suicide, but she forces it upon her parents. Her parents did not get to go out on their terms. I don't know how old they were. Maybe this does seem more merciful to her in contrast to that.
Right. Or also, I think something you're just looking for someone to tell you that death isn't bad. She's looking so hard for answers, you know, and it's like, we're here to say that death is just part of the circle of life and it's not something to be traumatized over or upset about. You know?
There's a rebirth aspect to it. I forget what it was exactly, but like it is, like you said, it's a circle. So then they do believe that they will be reborn in some way.
Right.
Although there is like a little bit of a pulling back the wool at the end. I feel like you spend a lot of the movie kind of believing all their bullshit, you know? Like, that does sound right. That sounds good. And then at the end, when Ingmar and the other guy drink of the yew tree to feel no pain, and then they're like, oh, no, that didn't work.
Yeah.
And then I think Ingmar in that moment's like, oh, fuck, my whole life is a lie.
Right.
Shit.
Yeah. That part is terrible.
Yes.
It's really horrifying. Yeah.
But I like appreciate that it's there, though.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to get too comfortable with all the hard ideas. Don't go thinking that it's a good idea. I love the whole exchange with Christian and his... I guess they all live together, right? I don't know if they do live together or they're all just hanging out in the apartment. But whatever, when they're all like planning the trip. And then he's like, oh, Danny's here.
Guys, it's Danny. She's coming up. I invited Danny to come to Sweden. So you guys know. And she's not actually going to come, but I invited her just to not make it weird.
Invited her to...
But she's not coming. I invited her, and she accepted, but she's not actually coming this week. Guys, you know what she's been going through.
Yeah, no, dude, I thought you were saying...
Yeah, dude, nobody minds.
I thought you were saying something else, that's all.
Okay, that's great. And just so we're clear, you guys told me to invite her, and you all know that she's coming. Great. Yep.
Hey.
Hey, babe.
Anyway, here's Danny. I love that so much. That's so classic Christian.
Yeah. There's also the line Christian said, well, we stick our elders in nursing homes. I'm sure they'd find that disturbing.
That was really shocking, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like, yeah. And he's like, I think we just need to try to acclimate.
Are you not disturbed by what we just saw?
Yeah, of course I am. That was really, really shocking. I'm trying to keep an open mind, though. It's cultural, you know? We stick our elders in nursing homes. I'm sure they find that disturbing. I think we really need to just at least try to acclimate.
Okay. I'll try.
I really love how hurt Josh is when he gets the which futark that language is wrong.
What alphabet is that from?
The younger Futhark, I think, or is that medieval?
Actually, that is the elder Futhark.
Jerk, and he's so crestfallen afterwards. Like, ugh.
And I love just Danny's face when she's May Queen, like that mad little face.
Her mouth is incredible.
I know. We're such a frowny frown.
It's the frowniest frown.
Like she drew lines on her face.
It reminds me of Sam the Eagle a little bit.
You are all weirdos.
girl.
But at the end, when it turns up and she's got the biggest smile, and I think you don't see her, I'm sure this is like an intentional direction thing, you never see her smile, toothy smile, until that moment. All her other smiles are just pained, pursed-lipped smiles, and then frowns. From frowns to pursed smiles until the very end. I mean, that mouth is going places. Oh, she's kind of, I mean, I feel like she's like the new Laura Dern.
Oh,
okay. Her cry face is so epic.
Yeah, that's such a great poster. Just like the close-up of her crying with the crown on.
First part of the mushroom scene where they're sitting by the tree. I love that whole exchange. Oh, fuck, it's a new person. No, new people are good.
Promise you it's okay.
I'm not okay.
Oh, fuck. It's a new person.
What? I don't want new people right now.
No, new people are good, Mark.
I like that Mark is freaking out.
Yeah.
I hate Mark.
It's like, everybody lie down.
Doing that?
Everybody lie down right now.
I don't like it.
What time is it?
It's 9 p.m.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
That can't be right. The sky is blue.
It's fine. It's Sweden.
That's not fine. Why is it like that?
It's okay, Mark. It's the midnight sun.
That feels wrong. I don't like that.
What else does a suicide need, huh? Now, if you'll excuse me.
I love how nonchalant they are. Anytime they're doing mushrooms, they're just constantly doing mushrooms in this movie. And they're just like, it's tea for the competition. Yeah. I love all the breathing flowers. There are a couple on her crown that are just constantly pulsating. And then the breathing ham is really funny. And how she's kind of like blending into the chair. So good.
This one guy's costume, and he has this fringe mask. I thought that was really a cool visual. It reminded me of, I guess he's a Canadian cowboy singer, Orville Peck. He has the same thing. He has like a fringe mask over his face to hide his identity the way that Sia does. And I'm just like, so in the movie, I'm like, oh my god, that looks like Orville Peck.
No, I don't know him.
I didn't know country music could be
He's
so esoteric.
Like, yeah, no, he's kind of like alternative-y. What do you say?
Control alt like country?
Kind of like Nick Cave.
Oh.
He has a really good album, but the costume reminded me a lot of his look.
We laugh until we cry.
At the end, when she chooses Christian to be sacrificed, why do you think she picks him? Should we do the lunchtime poll of that? Or...
Sure. So this is what's called a lunchtime poll.
I mean, I'm mostly asking because when I first saw it with my ex-husband, he thought that she was doing that to spare him. That was not my interpretation.
Which is the funniest take I have ever heard.
Right. What would have happened if she didn't do that? Do you think she just picked Christian because she was like, fuck you, Christian, literally go die in a fire? Or was it like, who knows what's coming up for him if he doesn't die right now? Is a worse fate in store for him? Or just why does she, you know, even if you don't see it that way, but it's like, well, obviously, she's picking which one gets to die and which one gets to live. But
I think that was her deciding to burn her old life. She's like, I'm getting rid of the last vestiges of my old life, and this is who I am now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, obviously he has to go because he'll get in the way of my new life, right? He would if you, I mean, who knows what would really happen to him, but.
Right, that's what I, like, what would have happened if they didn't, was he going to stay? Like, I assume at the end she's staying in the commune cult, but would he have stayed?
No, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like kind of part of the test too. Would she have been allowed to stay if she'd chosen him? Or would she, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it does seem kind of partly like, are you one of us? If you're one of us, then you're going to kill this guy. If you're not one of us, you'll kill one of us, and then...
The real decision she's making is whether to stay or go, not whether Christian dies or someone else dies.
Yeah.
You know?
And he's just kind of like a casualty in that decision.
Right.
Or literally a casualty in that decision.
Right, yeah. If she picks the other guy, then they might be like, oh, surprise, you guys both died.
Yeah, that could be.
No witnesses.
They definitely are concerned with protecting their, their cults in general.
Right.
It's her final, closing the circle. I'm in this new life, and all of the people and everything associated with her old self is over. How could he be a part of the new life? I felt like he couldn't survive that.
Yeah. I mean, so as far as like a lunchtime poll question, if the lunchtime poll question is, who would you choose in that scenario? Are we saying if we were Danny, who would we choose? Or if we were us, who would we choose?
Well, if we're us, are we still choosing between Christian and the other guy?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, like,
maybe we don't have a good lunchtime
it's
poll this time.
really
I don't
hard.
know.
Yeah.
This is tough.
Because, well, I totally get why she makes that decision. It makes the perfect sense to me
Yeah.
in relation to that movie. But if she had a family still at home, I'd be like, oh, that's not cool. It doesn't make as much sense if her family's alive. But it makes perfect sense to me if her family's dead and she has nobody at home.
I don't feel like she really has any other choice.
Do you think she knows that she doesn't have a choice?
Yes, I think
She
knows.
does?
Yes,
Okay.
I think she knows that, but she has a big frowny face. And then she picks Christian to die, and then they all die, and then is she almost kind of playing like, oh, I hate that I have to do this, bro.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I really don't know. I think that she knows that she doesn't really have a choice. Maybe she's playing like, oh, it kills me to do this, Christian.
It kind of is like that, I guess, a little bit, because she's like, I'll do the screaming like everybody, but then she's like, just kidding. I can't really be sad right now. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I guess I don't know what I would do if anything were different. But in those circumstances, it makes perfect sense. I'm trying to think of a scenario in which I wouldn't pick Christian. Sorry, Christian. Sorry, not sorry.
Well, maybe it would be if the thing that Rich thought was that really was the mercy choice, because it's like one person will die in the fire, and if it's not Christian, then he's going to die some other super gruesome way because he's not getting out of here alive. You know?
Yeah.
I thought if he wasn't going to die then, he would die some other way.
I mean, I just don't see how he survives, or at least like how he gets to leave. No matter who she picks, I don't think he's getting out of there. Well, I mean, our lunchtime poll could be, who would you do a menstrual blood love spell on? You know? I mean, we could it doesn't have to be a...
That's true. It could be something really fun.
Right.
For,
I mean, our polls have been like, you know, basically who's your favorite singer every time.
Yes, or who do you want to bone?
Right.
So, this could be a who do you want to bone one.
Right, yeah.
So this is what's called a lunchtime poll.
Who would you live deliciously with / do a pubic hair menstrual blood love
That's
spell
not your
on?
current SO, if you have one.
I know, so many.
Because the love spell also involves breeding.
Oh.
I guess it doesn't have to. Who would you do a menstrual blood love spell on?
Whoa.
Well, first...
Menstrual blood, pubic hair love spell.
Yeah.
Yikes. Okay. I mean, I can't do any of that.
I know. It's like, first I have to take out my IUD.
I know. I have to be post-menopause, and I'm screwed on all of it.
You don't have the necessary tools.
I don't, no. But I mean, I guess it would be Oscar Isaac, obviously. Or maybe Roger Federer. Although I also want to say one person I find really attractive is Jay Inslee.
He's like the silver hair.
Yeah,
Silver
he's like
Fox,
about Silver
yeah.
Fox
Old
thing.
pictures of him as a younger guy, he was really,
He was cute, yeah.
He was really cute.
I guess I'm gonna have to say Jason Mantzoukas.
Oh, I like him.
And the reason I'll say him instead of a couple of the other people who rank higher generally on my freebie list is because numbers 1 and 2 are Jason Momoa and Michael Bennett, and I love their wives.
Okay.
I would never want to do that to their wives. Their wives are so great. I mean, part of what is so attractive about them is how much they love their wives and like worship their wives as goddesses. So Jason Mantzoukas is single, so I can say him.
Oh, okay. Nice. I like that's a very thoughtful answer. Oh, dang, none of mine were single. I gotta think of a single guy that you can go.
I really love Bill Hader. I have such a crush on him. I think he's so cute. He seems like such a nice guy too, and he's who's his girlfriend now?
Rachel Bilson.
Yes, Rachel Bilson.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations,
Lucky
Rachel
lady.
Bilson. I know.
I feel like he is average looking at best.
It's all about his personality.
So endearing about
which I
him.
also find average as well. Like I
feel
don't,
like it's
I don't
100%
see the appeal
charisma.
with him.
Well, not 100%.
I don't see it at all.
Just like his character in Barry is so.
Oh, I haven't watched that.
I don't find him attractive on Barry because he's not a good guy.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing about Barry is that he like is a guy who isn't a good guy but keeps thinking he's a good guy and trying to be a good guy, but can't be. He just cannot be a good guy. He's incapable of it, and I really like that as a character for like a white man to play. Like, nope, you're just not a good person. I just think he's super cute in general. Like, I thought he was super cute in The Skeleton Twins. That's kind of when my crush, like, official crush happened.
Wow. See,
Before that, I just thought he was super funny. But...
In that movie, I crush out on Luke Wilson. I love Luke Wilson's character
Yeah.
in that movie. I really
His character
love him.
is great.
He's so nice.
Yeah.
I don't usually have a crush on Luke Wilson, but his character in that movie is so nice.
Sometimes that will do it.
Well, for me,
For
that
you,
is the highest thing on my list is someone so nice, because I was married to someone who was not nice.
Yes.
You know, so I don't want to get that deep
Yeah.
into it, but, you know, nice is definitely number one on my list, like very, very high.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching that movie, like, look how nice that husband is to his wife. He's so nice.
Bill Hader seemed like, I mean, obviously he's divorced, so I don't know what happened there, but he never talks about his relationships on podcasts or anything. Whenever he did talk about his wife when they were married, he was always like, my wife is the most talented, most beautiful, most brilliant person. Like, he always had such wonderful things to say about her. So he seemed like he would have been a good husband. I don't know what happened there, but that was always really attractive to me, too.
Famous or...
She's a director. She directed a really good movie.
Documentaries or something? Or...
Well, the only movie I saw she directed was, it was like a comedy that starring Aubrey Plaza, and she's like a super smart virgin. It's like a lose your virginity high school comedy, but it was a really good one. It really worked for me, but I wish I could remember what it's called. Editor's note. This 2013 movie is called The To-Do List, written and directed by Maggie Carey. Check it out. But his wife directed that.
Okay.
And wrote it.
I like him a lot, so that would be mine.
He's gonna get a pie.
And he's like so nice. Like, he's been on like these roasts. I don't like roasts in general, like insult comedy. Like, it just goes
It's so
beyond
vicious,
being an
yeah.
asshole to the person.
Mm-hmm.
And like, Bill Hader has been on them, but he can't even do it as himself. He has to be this character doing it, and it's so interesting to me. I just think it's funny that he was the only comedian that had to like be someone else, like, in order to insult the person.
Yeah.
So it's like not really him doing it, it's like a character. Maybe he's just like so uncomfortable being mean.
He just seems like a really nice and thoughtful person.
Yeah.
I totally know what you mean. It's like, in a lot of it, listening to him in interviews, and just he seems so thoughtful and kind.
Yeah.
And it's just, for a comedian, it's unusual.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Or a white male comedian, I should say, is unusual. Well, that's good. I feel good about that one, then.
Yeah, that's good.
How very.
Any final thoughts about either of these movies?
I can't wait to see Florence Pugh in more things, because she's so good. She's so talented.
She's great.
This is just a little thing, but because Florence Pugh is an actress, don't think that they have this kind of consideration for male actors. But you know how when you lie down on a bed, if you're just lying down comfortably, you don't look cute necessarily. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, your face falls in different ways or gets scrunched. Before they go to that party and she's lying on bed all sad, her face is all smashed into the pillow. And I just really love that shot. It's a really natural shot, you know? It's not like I'm a beautiful, sad woman. And she is beautiful, you know, but I just really appreciated that on this last watch. I don't know whose decision that was, but it really worked for me. Oh, I did notice on this watch, too, when they first arrive at Harga, that like one elder dude says, "Welcome to everybody." He says, "Welcome, welcome, welcome." To Dan, he says, "Welcome home." She's the only one he says, "Welcome home" to.
Oh my god.
After that, I was really watching for signs that Pele had planned for her to join the cult.
Wow.
It's like there's a lot of asides where they're like saying stuff in Swedish to each other that aren't subtitled, and I really want to know what those lines are. I mean, I guess you obviously don't need them for the movie to work, but I really like how many times they're just having little asides and they're like gesturing, and then they kind of pretend like they're translating what happened, but obviously that's not what I'm sure they're like, that's the guy we're gonna give the puke pie and murder. That's the guy we're gonna murder in this way. And that's Danny.
That's the making.
Yeah.
It's interesting because she was just sort of like an unintentional person that came.
She was a last
and then
minute
she's like
addition.
she's the star.
I really honestly never thought about any alternative other than it was a coincidence until we started talking about it today. And then I'm like, oh, maybe it was set up, but I don't know. I still really feel like it was a coincidence, but it very possibly could have been set up because there were definitely a lot of other things that were planned pretty carefully.
Yeah.
So I guess it would be on brand for them to set it up. Oh, I also really felt that phone conversation with Christian, the first phone conversation with Christian, where he's like playing video games.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, "Do we have plans? Maybe I can stop by." Like the whole, like, I'm a shitty girlfriend for asking to hang out with you. Like, my bad mushroom boyfriend, that was kind of a conversation that was familiar to me. Of, like, I'm a burden to you because I want to hang out with you. And I'm, like, keeping you from your friends.
That did feel very real, that conversation.
I loved it. I love a good phone conversation in a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was perfectly paced. Like, sometimes, like, phone conversations seem a little quick in movies just to get a point across. But that was... It felt like a very natural conversation.
Yeah, there were some natural pauses, awkward moments, and her face throughout was so wonderful.
Yeah.
Her wonderful face. On the next episode of Paid in Puke, we're joined by Aaron Lavery to scream about Ridley Scott's 1979 masterpiece, Alien, the film that inspired the Bechdel test. If you enjoyed this episode of Paid in Puke, please take a minute to rate us highly on your preferred podcast listening apparatus. If you did not enjoy this episode, no further action is necessary. Paid in Puke is hosted by Amy Green, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. Music by Silent Partner. Follow us on Twitter at Paid in Puke Pod, or join us on Facebook at Paid in Puke Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Lick it up, baby. Lick it